we now get into our takeaways from the spring game. I think all eyes were on the quarterback battle. Everybody wanted to see more than 24 newcomers that took the field and made their debut in orange and blue. But I think for the most part, Nick, and we'll get more into the defense throughout this episode, but I think that the defense stole the show, and it was an underwhelming performance from the offense.
Yeah, I think that all started up front, and I wrote it on Wednesday of the things that I was looking for. The offensive line was missing a bunch of guys, and I was wondering, okay, well, you're missing Micah Mazuka, who should be your starting left guard. You're missing Kingsley Eguakin, who should be your starting center. How can you, even banged up, handle Florida's new defensive line, which I think is not only more talented, but also deeper across the board? The answer was no. I wonder why you've taken a 4-star high school guard in Roger Kearney and a 4-star high school center in Najee Harris and told them to stop playing those positions and switch. Because Roger Kearney and Jake Slaughter both had a night trying to snap the ball, which sets the offense back. And I think, Billy Napier called it a dirty pocket. It was filthy all night, in a spring game where you can't hit the quarterbacks. Thank goodness, because the quarterbacks would have been, peeling themselves off the turf last night. So defense definitely won the day. I don't think the offense inspires a lot of confidence or inspired a lot of confidence on Friday night. And the biggest thing, obviously, is we said it last night on the field, Zach, is this time last year, the story was Anthony Richardson will be the Gators starting quarterback in 2022. We do not leave the 2023 game knowing who will start.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why now one of the big themes coming out of this is that the Gators are not done adding to the quarterback position. Now, the real interesting thing will be if Austin Simmons does reclassify, which is a possibility, would they still add a portal quarterback? Because if you really listen to what Billy had to say, and we'll kind of assess the quarterback battle in another segment, but like if you really listen to his post-game comment, he didn't necessarily say that it will be a portal player that they add. He said that they'll add another player to the position. So is he referring to Austin? Is he, but he's not going to turn away some stud that shows up in the portal next month. Right. That could be his guy. I just don't necessarily know that he's banking on that or counting on that. But the fact that it's even a conversation, Nick, is to your point. Like, we weren't here last year. There wasn't, the Gators are going to go out and go portal hunting for another guy at the quarterback position. Like, the fact that Jack and Graham, one of them hasn't really locked up this job is why they're still in the market for one.
And so we're still learning Billy, but I take him. I think he's a very honest person. Like, he's not going to come out and say, yes, we need a transfer portal quarterback. But I think if you read between the lines and as we start to get to know him more, I think he answered it yesterday. And to me, my opinion, what I heard was, yes, we're going to add one more. And that process is already underway. Now, I don't think Billy Napier says, because it was my question. I don't think his answer was, you know what, Nick, we're tampering like hell, and we got a good guy coming in the portal. I don't think that's what Billy Napier meant. So to me, to my ears, when I hear, yes, we will add a person to that room, which is what he says.
And it's already underway.
That doesn't mean, yes, Nick, we're tampering and we're trying to get, a quarterback from X university to come. I think it's yes. And we've been talking to a player who we're recruiting about reclassifying, and he could be here this summer. That's what I heard. So to me, Austin Simmons will reclassify and he'll be in the 23 class. And I think we already talked about reading those tea leaves when the Thursday after, Simmons commits on a Tuesday, and then Thursday they're offering another 2025 quarterback. I think you're looking at that and saying, okay, well, maybe they need another 25 quarterback because something's happening. Now, let's say someone like Grayson McCall comes into the portal tomorrow, Saturday, when it opens, and then calls Billy Napier right away and goes, Coach, I want to be a Gator. I don't think you tell him, you know what? We're set. We've got a current 16-year-old coming in, and I know you saw our spring game. We're fine. So I don't think that's the case. But
so then they would have 5.
Yes.
You go from 3 to 5.
Graham Mertz only has a year. Max Brown or Jack Miller could look and go, what the heck just happened? Everyone left, and then they've added too many, and they could leave. So the portal's going to work both ways for Florida. It's going to work with players going in and players going out. To me, when Billy Napier said we're already in that process, we're already underway, to me that meant Austin Simmons, and then you could be good. You're not looking for a transfer portal quarterback just for depth. You're looking for a portal quarterback who could potentially come in and start over Graham Mertz or Jack Miller. But the way Billy Napier said it, I don't think that's what he was talking about.
I do want to add, Graham actually has 2 years of eligibility left thanks to the COVID year. So
we got to get past this COVID year. I can't. I'm running out of fingers and toes to count on. I don't know how many. I thought he had 2 years to play one, but who knows?
He's got 2 years of eligibility left. I mean, it's look, this quarterback situation is going to give us something to write about, I think, for months now, Nick. I mean, this battle is not going to be done either, right? I mean, I think that this is going to continue now. We expected that. We both said last week, regardless of who plays better or how they both play, no guy's going to win the job on Thursday. And that was the case. But I really like how you kind of read into Billy's comment, because it says to me that he is, and this staff is, going into the rest of this offseason with the assumption and expectation, this is what we've got. I mean, maybe some superstar who's like a 5-star caliber quarterback recruit that's disgruntled at his school that he's at right now and doesn't win the starting job once their spring game is over with. Maybe he all of a sudden hops into the portal and that changes the plan, but in the outlook. But I think right now, Miller and Mertz and that law firm is what they have to work with. And if you just look at the numbers, Mertz had better numbers in the spring game, but I felt like watching it, I thought Miller probably had the better game. Both of them didn't really play well, but you clearly see why this is a back and forth battle and why one guy hasn't really been able to separate himself. And I don't think that happened on Thursday either.
That's probably what you wanted. I think going into the game, we've talked about this, just even from something as small as the locker placement. To us, it seemed that Graham Mertz, they've wanted him. They're not going to give it to him, but they want him to win this job. He just hasn't. And I think you're going into that game Thursday night, and thinking, okay, Graham Mertz can win the job tonight. And he just doesn't. You look at the numbers. He finished the game 18 of 29, 62% for 244 yards. I looked down at that at the end of the game, and I'm like, when did that happen?
And no turnovers. Let's mention that, because remember, they had interceptions in both of the first 2 scrimmages. So that was a positive. But like you said, his numbers were better than how we felt the performance was.
I've watched the game twice now, and I still look down at that stat line, and I'm like, when did that happen? And I watched the game more than once, and I looked down, and I'm like, it just did not feel that way. Like there was, he just started off really slow, so those numbers came in the second half. It was just a sloppy game with penalties and sacks and things like that. I don't leave the game feeling great about the Gators quarterback room. I feel great about the running game, and now I just need a quarterback, and Florida's just going to need a quarterback to keep defenses honest, because the running game, my goodness, Cam Carroll runs in such a disrespectful manner, and you just need a quarterback who can just keep a defense honest. I think Florida's running game could be really good. it makes sense. You've got two Big Ten quarterbacks, and you're going to have a Big Ten ground and pound or offense, baby.
Yeah, I mean, go with the bread and butter, right? So, and yeah, Cam had an absolute amazing run, and I think Nick, you and I got told from a program source pretty early in camp that this guy was going to be in the running back rotation, and we saw that. So, but look, I think the rotation now for Mertz and Miller, that was another interesting aspect of the spring game. Like all of last year in the orange and blue game, Anthony Richardson took every single snap with the first team offense. Jack Miller didn't get any reps with those guys. He was exclusively with the backups. Not only did they, both get their opportunity with the starters on Thursday, they also played with the backups as well. And to me, I feel like, and I asked Billy this after the game, I feel like that might even be a more of an indicator of maybe who should get the job. If you can elevate the play of the backups, I mean, it's one thing to go out there and play well with the starters. Mm-hmm. And I think that these guys, man, I was on the field for the game, Nick, and boy, we were going back and forth, back and forth. You loved it. It was a punting marathon.
Ah, beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's I think that Miller has obviously made this a competition. I think that where he was last year and certainly, where he was in the bowl game coming off of all those months of injury, I think that he's in a better place. And Mertz, I think, is not maybe progressed to where the hope is where he would have been at the end of spring. But now we go into this summer, Nick. And I mean, what is your expectation for the guy? I mean, I think that, like you said, we've alluded to how we felt like they were shaping it up to win, but do you have a front runner in your mind now going into the offseason?
I think it would be disingenuous if I said anyone else other than Graham. I still think Graham is the quarterback that Florida wants to win this job. Jack Miller's not gonna, he's not a golden retriever. He's not gonna, sit down, lay down, roll over. He's gonna make Graham earn it. I just don't know that I've seen anything from Graham that would make me say, yeah, he's clearly better. So I guess that's the challenge, and that's probably the challenge that the coaching staff is telling Graham this morning is you're going to have to win this. You have not won this yet. And obviously they'll do, OTAs and fall camp or spring and then fall camp. So there's still a lot of time left. There's like 130 something days until you have to throw somebody out there against Utah. I think the quarterback battle might go all the way into fall camp, to be honest with you.
And I also wouldn't rule it out. If whoever wins the job, they're going to have to play well enough to keep it. And because they're so even, this could be a season where one guy gets the nod another week if another guy's not performing up to par, which I know Florida fans don't even want to entertain that thought. You'd like one guy to just be QB1 and keep that role throughout the season. We'll find out if they can.